Love it or hate it, with the NBA's trade deadline a week away, a lot of content focused on potential trades is on its way, as we all prepare for potential deals that could be coming, along with the reactions and analysis for the deals that do actually come through when the time comes. If you want to elevate your team to the tier where you can actually compete in the playoffs, this is your chance to do so. And based on this idea, media outlet Bleacher Report has published an article proposing trades that they believe could blow up the playoff race if they were to go down. As always, I'll be going over each of these trades that they proposed, analyzing how realistic they are, why or why not each team would do it, who benefits the most, and whether or not I agree with them in theory. Additionally, if you want to actually read the article that they themselves published, that will be linked down in the description of the video. Before we start though, I want to thank PrizePicks for sponsoring this video. PrizePicks is the perfect service for all of us basketball fans here because when you're involved, it makes watching games every night so much more fun and engaging. Basically, it's an application that provides you with lines on all kinds of individual player props, such as points, rebounds, assists, and three-pointers made amongst others, and you simply have to choose whether you believe the player will record over the set amount in the line or under the set amount in the line. Make your selections, wager however much you want to, and if your picks hit, you can win some big money. For some picks I'm looking at making for tonight's slate of games, I'm thinking of going with Terry Rozier to score over 19.5 points, Joel Embiid to score over 31.5 points, and Clint Capella to grab over 9 rebounds. If this sounds at all intriguing to you, then go use the link down in the description of the video to sign up today, and use promo code REFERENCE to receive a 100% deposit match bonus up to $100. Once again, thank you to PrizePicks for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the topic at hand. The first trade proposed from the article is between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the San Antonio Spurs, and in it the Cavaliers receive DeJounte Murray in exchange for Colin Sexton, Cedi Osman, and 2 first-round picks. The Cavaliers are way ahead of schedule this season after rebuilding for a few years, and legitimately, they look like they can compete with the best of the best in the Eastern Conference. They're currently in 5th place in the Eastern Conference standings at the time that I'm making this video, but they're only a game and a half out of 1st place, which shows not only how tight the top of the conference is, with the Cavaliers very much in the mix too. Darius Garland just deservingly got named to his first All-Star team, but the Cavs don't really have a permanent solution alongside him in their backcourt, so I definitely see the idea behind this proposal. However, what I don't see is why the Spurs would ever accept this. Colin Sexton is recovering from his injury and is done for the season, plus he's hitting free agency this summer, so his value is pretty much as low as it'll get at the moment, and Cedi Osman just hasn't developed at all in his 4 years with the team, so again, he's not exactly moving the needle much in this trade. Sure, the first round picks help bolster it, but if DeJounte Murray were to actually be available for a trade, every team interested in him would throw 2 first round picks in their offer while also having more intriguing players to offer than what Cleveland have here, so it would get shut down rather quickly. Murray is a walking triple-double threat every night this season and is a lot better than the average fan is aware of, so while I would like to see him on a winning team like Cleveland to get more recognition, I don't think this is the deal that can do that unless maybe Colin Sexton agrees to commit to the Spurs long term. The next trade in the article is between the Toronto Raptors and the Indiana Pacers, and in the deal, the Raptors get Miles Turner and Justin Holiday in exchange for Precious Achiuwa, Goran Dragic, a first-round pick, and 2 second-rounders. The Pacers are poised to be some of the biggest sellers this deadline, as they have been nothing short of a disaster this year while having plenty of valuable assets at their disposal, with Miles Turner being one of them. Turner's impact as a rim protector on defense ranks amongst the best in the league, and although he isn't consistent in his ability to stretch the floor on offense, it is something that makes him easy to slide into any lineup just because of that potential threat. The Raptors have been a team stuck in the middle of the standings, so I completely get why they would be interested in adding him, especially with their current hole at the center position being their biggest area of need, but this just isn't the deal that I think will get that job done. Precious Achiuwa was the centerpiece of their Kyle Lowry sign-and-trade, and unfortunately, he just hasn't been very good this year. He's very literally the least efficient big man offensively in the league this year, and at times he just looks clueless on offense. Assuming he's an enticing young asset would be assuming a lot here, and just like we saw with the last deal, the draft capital including would be assumed in any offer that the Pacers got for Turner, so that's not necessarily much of a needle mover either. Turner is a very good player, and if a team wants him, they're going to have to offer more than a questionable young talent and a washed-up backup point guard to get him. And finally, the last deal we'll be discussing from the article is actually a 3-team deal between the Celtics, 76ers, and Nets, and in it the 76ers get James Harden, the Nets get Jaylen Brown, Dennis Schroeder, and Josh Richardson, and the Celtics receive Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, and 2 first-round picks. This is pretty insane to look at on the surface, with so many big names being thrown around here, but weirdly enough, I'm kind of on board with it. Hear me out for a second. The first and most obvious thing to acknowledge is that the 76ers going out and getting their guy in James Harden that represents everything that the team needs at this point in time to help them get their game to the next level and potentially compete for a championship. There have been so many rumors about Harden being unhappy in Brooklyn, and even though most presume that he's going nowhere until maybe the offseason, the fact that the team is currently on a 6-game losing streak may speed that process up. The Nets are easily the most top-heavy team in the Eastern Conference, because while they do have the most talented Big Three in the league, the supporting cast around those players just isn't very good compared to other contenders, and with the amount of time each member of that Big Three has missed, those holes get exposed when the team's not at full strength. This gives the Nets much-needed depth from the Celtics, while also bringing a third star in Jaylen Brown. Schroeder and Richardson would be good players to have off the bench, and Brown is likely best-case scenario when it comes to a return for Harden. Then, looking at things from the Celtics' perspective, they're also some of the biggest underachievers this year, with their struggles coming from overall playmaking and over-reliance on isolation basketball. The Celtics have, however, established themselves as a top 5 defensive team in the league, and obviously Ben Simmons would bolster that even further, as the runner-up in the Defensive Player of the Year award last year. With Simmons initiating things, they would create much more quality shots from the rest of the team out on the perimeter, as Ben was the leading assister on 3-pointers made last season, and the amount of isolation offense the team runs would go down, so Jason Tatum's workload wouldn't be as heavy. This by no means is a perfect trade, and I understand complaints from each side, but there would also probably be more draft picks scattered in here most likely if it were to happen, and it's really close, so I'm not really opposed to it going down. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think of these trade ideas that Bleacher Report proposed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.